only the highwayman tactics that appealed to us, but the fact that the men were able to make the journey at all over such hazardous country. Free and easy it may be to these gallant men, but there is a quality of daredevil romance in the exploits of this group which thrills the imagination in these days when warfare has become only grim and horrible. From a 14th of March 1941 news cutting. Source unknown. Preface. A good few years ago I crossed the Sahara Desert, once from north to south and once in the other direction. I did so with the benefit of a relatively modern vehicle and navigational technology, decent maps, and, mostly, generous food and water supplies. I was travelling with a few good friends. We had decent guidebooks and were often accompanied by local guides. We journeyed through Morocco, Algeria, Niger, Nigeria, Tunisia, Libya, and one or two other African countries. We did so at a time of relative peace, when the desert wasn't convulsed by war and those operating in it hunted from pillar to post, watched from the skies by avenging warplanes. Even so, it was still a challenging and at times even fearful undertaking. Perhaps that is why for many years I've been fascinated by the story of the autumn 1942 attack on Barche aerodrome in Axis-held Libya by Allied Special Forces. The Barche raid was a spectacular mission, almost without parallel, and it is generally recognized as one of the most successful beat-up raids ever carried out. The attackers had to navigate some 1,900 miles of the world's most inhospitable and hostile terrain in order to carry out their mission, penetrating deep into the dune seas and burning wastes of the Sahara. The Barche raid, codenamed Operation Caravan, remains one of the longest, if not the longest, missions in the history of Special Forces, an epic of against-all-odds desert survival. As I began to study the raid in more detail, I asked my superlative researcher, Simon Fowler, to have a peek in the files held in the UK National Archives, searching for the war diary and any other official documents relating to Operation Caravan. Thankfully, a reasonable body of records has survived. It was in the process of perusing those files that a quite extraordinary and hidden narrative began to emerge, a layer of secret history underpinning the Barche raid itself. Operation Caravan was part of a larger spread of Special Forces missions, all of which were executed on the night of the 13th of September 1942, with varying degrees of success. They involved a variety of elite units operating across much of Axis-held North Africa. The most important mission of all, indeed the absolute raison d'etre for that night's audacious series of attacks, was the raid on Tobruk. And to carry off that breathtaking mission, a very special unit had been formed, one steeped in utmost secrecy. Barely a platoon in size, this unit bore various names during the war, but it was most commonly known as the Special Interrogation Group, or SIG. The SIG's role is touched upon in some of the files held at the National Archives. The papers reveal how the unit, part Special Operations Executive, part SAS, was founded to perpetrate one of the greatest deceptions and subterfuges of the entire war. The platoon of men who made up the SIG consisted entirely of fluent German speakers, who were recruited for one purpose and one purpose only: to pose as a unit of German soldiers, with the aim of enabling our elite warriors to penetrate the enemy's lines. The SIGs were to be the masters of deception, disguise, and bluff, and they were to use such skills to spirit the desert raiders to their targets. In doing so, they were to break every known rule of war. On the night of the 13th of September 1942, they were the Trojan horse that took Allied Special Forces through the series of supposedly impregnable defences that encircled General Rommel's key stronghold in North Africa, Tobruk. Indeed, the raids on Barche and the other attacks of that night were but decoys designed to blind the enemy to the real target, the port fortress that was the key to victory in the desert. The story of the raid on Barche is thus inextricably linked to that of the SIG and the mission to destroy Tobruk. During the various operations carried out that night, the heroics performed were almost beyond belief or compare. Those recruited into the SIG and the elite forces that accompanied them